From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Happy holidays from Weather NorCal and our sponsors. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. So glad you could join us here this evening. And it looks like we do have more fog developing here tonight in the Sacramento Valley here. Could be looking at some very dense fog at times. And this is all before the rain moves in and the main storm system begins to move in here for tomorrow morning. So that wet weather pattern, it is still expected to be here as early as tomorrow morning through the weekend and even into next week. Snow levels initially starting off as low as 5,000, but somewhere probably even above that, 5, 6, even 7,000 feet. And the first day of winter is tomorrow, the winter solstice. It's going to be the shortest day of the year. But after that, of course, those days should start getting longer. All right, let's get you through Krueger's Quickcast here for tonight. Today is, of course, Friday, December 20th. And for tonight, there it is. We've got that fog here for the valley. Could see some patchy fog for some areas like Trinity County as well, and even along the coast. But eventually, that rain is going to move in here for tomorrow morning. And we take a look at out the door here for tomorrow morning on your Saturday. We're going to be looking at some of that wet weather. The valley, Trinity County, Siskiyou County. The eastern mountains may have to hold off until, say, around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, but you get the idea. We're going to be looking at that wet weather returning or making its way here by tomorrow morning. So this is the system that's, of course, moving through today, giving us mainly the mostly cloudy skies here. This is the system that's going to be coming in here for tomorrow morning. So we take a look at Futurecast, walk you through the timing of it all. Here's 5 a.m. So again, you can see at 5 a.m., we're looking at those showers. Not so much off in the eastern mountains here, places like Laston County, but yeah, by about 8 o'clock, sure, it looks like maybe some showers out towards Laston and even Modoc County, seeing some of those showers here. This is the first push of moisture. There's another little band of moisture coming in behind that that'll impact us here through the mid-morning hours. Then by the time we get in the noon hour, you see how it's actually starting to break apart. And I do expect drier conditions for the second half of the day on Saturday going into Saturday night. But still with the overcast skies, it may be a little drizzly out there for some of us because at this point, the air is going to be fairly saturated. And keep in mind, snow levels during this entire time frame are mainly going to be above 5,000, 6,000 feet here. So fairly high snow levels, not expecting a lot of chain requirements. It's mainly going to be the higher mountain passes east of I-5. You may run into a few issues here. All right, so let's take a look at the winds here. And there you can see we do have those gusty winds developing as that main storm system begins to move on through. Winds dying down by midday for the coast. Everyone else seeing those calmer winds here by tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. But another wind event coming in, especially for the coast and the mountains, for Sunday morning. So here's your forecast here for tomorrow. Of course, looking at the overcast skies, showers, temperatures mid-50s for the valley, and we're talking temperatures in the 40s for most of the higher elevations, and somewhere in the mid to upper 50s along the coast, and of course showers, especially for the first half of the day. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, wet weather off and on all the way through the end of next week. And it still looks like Christmas Day is going to be the day that we expect to see the best chance for dry conditions. So certainly, I guess, a Christmas gift from Mother Nature there. But otherwise, you can see for the coast, inland, and for Trinity County, off and on rain here through the end of next week. Snow levels, as mentioned here, above 5,000, 6,000 feet through Monday, dropping a little bit on Tuesday, maybe dropping more on Thursday, then back up to 6,000 feet or higher by the end of next week. All right, that's Krueger's Quickcast. Hope you have yourselves a great night and a great weekend. Stick around, though, because we've got a lot more to talk about here in our deeper dive forecast. We're going to talk about the main source of moisture and our kind of those chances for rain off and on through next week. We'll kind of walk you through the timing based on the latest forecast model data. Before we get to that, though, I do want to remind you there is a free Weather NorCal app. Everything I have to offer here at Weather NorCal is available on your phone, and it's hyper-local. That's the beauty of it. It's focused on Northern California. So search for Weather NorCal in your app store. It's free. If you don't like it, this is what I always say. If you don't like it, then just take it off your phone. But I really do think you're going to enjoy the app. All right, so here again is the storm system that's going to be moving through really as we go into the evening and overnight hours. But this right here is what's going to bring us the rain on Saturday. And as I mentioned, there's plenty of available moisture here. One band of moisture after another coming through this weekend. So there's band number 2 and number 3 coming in here as we go into Monday. There's that break, especially as we get towards Christmas. And then as we go into Christmas night into Thursday, another band of moisture. As we get to the end of next week, around Friday, another band of moisture coming in, and then another one behind that as we go into Saturday and into Sunday, the weekend after Christmas. Now, all of these are what we would define as atmospheric rivers. Now, of course, we talk about atmospheric rivers. It's been overused by the media, overhyped by the media, but you need to understand there are 5 different categories of atmospheric rivers, 1 through 5, 5 being the strongest and having the biggest impact. These spikes here, these are the atmospheric rivers. But one thing you'll notice is they're not lasting for very long. These are not atmospheric rivers that are pointed at us for a day, 2 days, 3 days. They're here for about 12 hours. They move on out. And then the next one, we see a bit of a break, and then the next one comes in. So there it is right here as we go into tonight and tomorrow morning. There's that break Saturday afternoon into Sunday, Sunday afternoon, right, Sunday night, then that break. And we have another one on Monday into Tuesday, then that break as we go around Christmas, and then Christmas night, right, into Thursday, we see another atmospheric river. So one after another, but again, they're not prolonged periods, so the threat for flooding is certainly not going to be as great. So let's take a look at Futurecast. Walk you through at least this weekend to start off with. Again, snow levels between 5,000 and 6,000 feet, probably closer to 6,000 feet and higher. But as we go into tomorrow morning at 2 a.m., really tonight, there's that first band of rain coming into the coast. By 5 a.m., it's now moving to the valley, but still dry for Modoc County southward into Lassen and Plumas counties. Notice the snow right on either side of I-5, so I-5 is just going to be wet, but not snowy. And we're seeing maybe some of those highest mountain passes, say above 5,000, 6,000 feet, that we could see some chain requirements. But 8 a.m., now the heavier rainfall is beginning to push to the east of the valley, but another band of moisture right here that'll be pushing through the mid to late morning hours. By noon, most of it's off to the east, and then by 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's fairly dry. And as I mentioned earlier, the air is fairly saturated at this point. It will be overcast, and there may be some drizzle through the afternoon into the evening hours. But really, for the most part, things are drying out. We're getting our first break. We're between systems. Now, Sunday is a bit of an anomaly. It looks like we have a little bit of some light showers kicking in here for early Sunday morning. But the first half of the day on Sunday after that looks to be dry. The second atmospheric river is right here. That's what's going to be moving in here by Sunday evening, Sunday night. You can see it starts to kind of break apart a little bit. Not a ton of rainfall coming out of it, but still looking at that activity here. And by the way, there may be a few rumbles of thunder here for tonight and tomorrow morning for the coast, and maybe even going into Sunday as we go for, say, places like Del Norte County, but otherwise just in the form of showers for most of us. The amount of rain we can expect, I think upwards of a half an inch to an inch for parts of the valley, maybe a little bit more than that for the coast. Once again, up to the north and east, maybe a quarter to a half an inch at most. Now, once again, Futurecast is picking up on the potential for some accumulating snow towards Chester and Quincy. I think the snow levels will be too high for that, for places like Chester at 4,500 feet. But you can see here, the mountain of Mount Shasta, Trinity Alps, the Marble Mountains, out towards Warner Mountains, right? Lassen Volcanic Peak, right? Or the Lassen Peak, that is. You can see the pink indicating upwards of a foot of snow there. As you go below that, as you get into, say, 6,000, 7,000 feet, you're talking a few inches of snow here. Now, speaking of the higher elevations, what does that mean for the ski park? Well, as you can see here, through 10 p.m. Sunday, the ski park picking up closer to 6 inches of snow towards the base, and above that, upwards of 16 inches of snow. Now, could that mean it's always going to be in the form of snow? To be 100% honest with you, I am a little concerned that there are going to be times, especially on Saturday and Sunday, that we could be looking at in the form of rain and rain only. Now, that would, of course, melt some of the snow, but there are also going to be times where I do think it'll be kind of a rain-snow mix. I'd say that the ski park, especially at the base, is going to be in that borderline of where that rain and snow kind of mixes. And then, of course, as you start going up to the upper parts of the ski park, more in the way of that snow. So that's something to keep in mind here if you're planning on heading to the ski park over the weekend. Here's what we have as far as timing is concerned. Now, keep in mind, this is going to change, but this just kind of gives you an idea as we go through the weekend and next week. So we saw the timing for Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, again, just a weak system kind of passing through for the morning, but late afternoon, evening hours, there's that rain coming in, and that'll probably continue to Monday morning. Now, Monday afternoon may be a bit of a break, but then as we go into Monday night, Tuesday, the next round of rain. We also have a trough of low pressure, which means cooler air will begin to cool down. That could lower snow levels from 6,000 feet plus to down to maybe 4,000 feet. Then we see a break as we go into Christmas Day. There's that break, but by Christmas night into Thursday, another trough of low pressure, cooler air, snow levels maybe even as low as 3,500 feet. By the way, for Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas, this could impact your mountain travel with those lower snow levels, meaning chain requirements, the works. So this is going to have to be a forecast if you are traveling in the mountains that you'll want to watch very closely. We'll be able to fine-tune those snow levels much better as we go into next week. By the way, as we go into Friday into Saturday, it looks like another chance for some rain, and then probably more coming in behind that. As we take you into Sunday, maybe this activity coming in for the weekend after Christmas. So what we can expect through Thursday is going to be upwards of around 3 to even 5 inches of rain for the valley, 5 to 7 inches for the north coast, and maybe 3/4 to 1.5 inches to places like Modoc County, Lassen, and Plumas County. So some good rain heading our way, but keep in mind, it's over a span of about 5 days. So 3 to 5 inches of rain is a lot, but when you stretch it out to 4 to 5 days, that's actually a pretty healthy amount of rain, and the threat for flooding is certainly going to be much smaller. But looking at the long range through the end of the month, Climate Prediction Center still has us in these darker shades of green, which is basically saying, hey, there's a pretty good chance of seeing above normal rainfall during this time frame. But it's also going to mean higher snow levels. Now, as I mentioned, there are going to be times, especially for Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas, where they could drop down to about 3,500, 4,500 feet, but warmer than normal temperatures are expected during this time frame when most of this rain is moving through, keeping our snow levels fairly high for the most part. But looking at the winds too, because a lot of times too with these storm systems, the winds begin to pick up as well. And certainly seeing that here as we go into Saturday morning, gusty winds for central Siskiyou County, the coast, even parts of the mountains. It looks like the valley for the most part is not going to be impacted too greatly. Yeah, sure, we may see some breezes out there, but most of the winds will be in the higher elevations. But as we go through the afternoon, across the board, the winds are dying down on Saturday afternoon. But Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, more winds for the coast, for central Siskiyou County, but once again, not as bad for the valley as we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. So looking at your wave heights, unfortunately, it looks like they are going to increase as we go into your Saturday afternoon. We take you into your Sunday. They do retreat a little bit here, but still fairly high wave heights as we go into Saturday and Sunday. All right, so here's what we have in store for us tonight. Again, we've got that fog for the valley, maybe some patchy fog for some of the mountain valleys as well. Otherwise, low 40s, low to mid 40s for the valley, 30s, maybe some 40s for some of the higher elevations, and upper 40s out along the coast. So here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast for your Saturday. Temperatures upper 40s, 47 degrees for Trinity Center and Ruth. We take you out for the north coast, 58 for Eureka, 57 for Blue Lake and Garberville, and 56 degrees in Shelter Cove. We take you up north, look for a high of 56 out in Smith River, 55 for Klamath, and 54 degrees in Willow Creek. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the low to mid to even some upper 40s, so basically 40 to close to 50 degrees for those daytime highs there. For Modoc County, low to mid 40s, look for a high of 40 in Canby, 43 for Alturas, and 42 degrees in Fort Bidwell. Let's take you off into the eastern mountains, where temperatures there should be mid 40s, give or take. Warmer spot in Doyle at about 50, Viola about 44, and Fall River Mills about 41 degrees. Here's a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures mainly in the mid-50s, some warmer spots like Oroville at about 58, Chico at about 57 degrees, up north a little bit cooler at 54 degrees for Redding, 51 for Lakehead, and 54 degrees in Palisadro. So there's a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. We got the off and on showers here starting tomorrow all the way through the end of next week. When do we get that break from the wet weather? For now, it still looks like Christmas Day. Thank you all so much for watching. That is your evening update. I'll be back again filling in for Chase tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Until then, have a great night.
Caltrans is doing the best that they can with the amount of people and the amount of equipment they have, and they're out there trying to keep the roads safe and trying to keep everybody running, because if the roads shut down, truck drivers that are paid by the miles aren't making any money. So we want everybody to put chains on for the safety of themselves and the safety of the public. It's not worth it to drive without chains.